Alright, let me know when you guys can see this. Can you see what's going on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, great. Alright, so this is basically a domain that we set up. This was a test domain that we did while we were setting everything up. So you're not going to see a live domain, but we do have them on, definitely have them on the system. And you can see here that you can easily set up mailboxes, distribution lists, contacts, public folders. You can see downloads of Outlook and Entourage for when when you purchase a license of those. And there also is there's a basic storage usage report, and then there's also a more detailed on the far left-hand side at the bottom here statistics tab where you can get some pretty detailed analytics of what's happening on this particular domain. So you can hop in real quick. Like, let's take a look at mailboxes. You can see we have two. We have testing at test321.org and testing at 321.com. But these are actual mailboxes that we've set up, and so you could hop in there, and we'll just click in. You can take a look. You can get easy access to their login, their password. You can, well, maybe we won't show the password. You can get quick access to setup details, so you can see how you can set up ActiveSync. One of you asked if you can use ActiveSync with Outlook or with Host Exchange. Definitely, you definitely can. So Android and iPhones are in. You can do IMAP, POP3, and then obviously Outlook Access and Outlook Web Access. There's a link to the Web Access right there. You can set up all kinds of things on there. So you can limit different things on the account. You can change the size of the mailbox. You can change where the person gets warned. So you can set things like you can prohibit how much space. If they hit a certain point, it'll stop them from being able to send email. So it'll be like a wake-up call, but their mailbox won't actually fill up to the point where they stop receiving email. So it's not like a hard limit. And that's really good to set up with people so that they get warnings. They get enough of a warning that they'll actually get in touch with you, so you can expand the size of their mailbox before they just stop receiving email and starts bouncing. There's all kinds of other things you can set up. You can set up forwarding, obviously, and other basic things. Where's the aliases? They're in here somewhere. I know I saw them.
Yeah, you go back to the mailbox you were just in.
Oh, okay.
Yep, click on the mailbox and then click the email addresses tab.
Ah, there we go. There we go. See, so again, this has all been documented, so you can get a document that has this all written out. But you can see that we've set up a couple different test aliases here, and you can easily just add one. I mean, it's really all just it's just really simple, It's all really quite easy. So you can see that the status on the one I just created is set to creating, while the other one's already ready. And all you got to do is just kind of sit there for a second and then refresh, and it'll actually it's done. So technically, if this domain was active and was working, then you could send email to that alias, and it would come to this mailbox. So we mentioned things like distribution lists. There's unlimited number of those, and it's really very much the same thing. It's just basic control panel. Public folders is the same way. It's unlimited. You can just kind of add them. Now, the one thing with public folders is that there is space associated with them, right? So you're using space on your account.
Correct.
Right? So you do pay for the space. So you can have an unlimited number of public folders, but you have to remember not to run out of space on your account. So, if you buy 2 5-gig email addresses and then you want to set up like 3 or 4 public folders, just remember that you're going to have to take space away from those email accounts or purchase more space in addition to that to make space for these public folders. And I think that covers the majority of that. Let's see here.
Dan, somebody brought up support for AD Sync, which I did mention briefly. Our Exchange 2010 that should be released in March will have support for AD Sync. So that's something that will allow remote people to, that have their own remote companies that have their own Active Directory deployments to sync those user accounts with their organization inside of Hosted Exchange with us. So they can keep that single sign-on capability with all of their users and don't have to manage a separate set of passwords.
Okay, so coming soon. Very cool. Yeah, we're very excited for that. So let's see, what else do we got here? Bob asked a really good question too. We'll take a break and talk about that. He mentioned that people who have an on-premise Exchange server, if you flip them over to hosted, how do you have you guys done this before, where you kind of have to explain the speed differences between the two? I mean, exchanges. Well, go ahead. Let me let you answer this one because you're the expert.
I mean, I'm not sure what sort of speed difference you'd be talking about because you're technically not. I mean, are you talking about how long it takes for an email to show up in your inbox, or what? Maybe he can answer that. I'm not exactly sure what he means.
Sure. So we'll wait for some more clarification. David, we didn't talk about spam filtering in detail. We will be talking about spam filtering. Kevin, actually, who's on the call with us, will be doing an entire webinar on spam filtering in about 2 weeks. We're going to have him on the phone. If you want to find out more about that, though, I can definitely talk with you after the call.
Yeah, so as far as speed to your inbox, I mean, it's really not anything that anybody would notice. If you have an on-premise solution, you're on a 100 meg or a gigabit internal network, but it really connects at pretty much the same speed. We use Hosted Exchange in our environment, and we have people that are all over the country and even outside of the country that do various work for us, and they're all connected to that exchange, and they see those emails show up instantly. So Outlook maintains a persistent connection to the server, so it's always making that TCP connection over the the RPC over HTTP protocol, and when it sees a new mail item show up in that box, it immediately populates it right in Outlook. So I can't imagine anybody would ever notice any sort of a speed difference. Now, if they're going to try to send a very large file that's 20 megs, yeah, that's definitely going to take a little bit longer to go out of an office into the Hosted Exchange network and then back to them, because it's going to have to transfer those large files. We do allow those types of large file transfers up to 50 megs, but we don't recommend people doing that. There are definitely much better ways of doing that, and there are so many different cloud file syncing solutions that exist today. It really makes much more sense to use one of those solutions than it does to send it over email. Yes, HTTPS. Everything's 128-bit secure.
Security is a good thing. David was asking if spam filtering is integrated, and Messagewire definitely has a spam filtering solution, and we at Virtual Administrator work with Spam Soap. The pricing is just a little bit better there, and so we are definitely while we're big supporters of both companies. If you want to talk about setting up spam filtering and getting that involved, we can work that out with you. But it is not by default included with a mailbox, no. So it's just something to be set up. And both companies are MX Logic solutions.
I mean, there is some built-in anti-spam filters that are part of Exchange that just come with Exchange. So when you see an item show up in your junk mail folder, it is being handled by the Edge servers, and it is scanning that for spam. It's not particularly it's not scored very low, so it is going to allow more spam through. But definitely you will see things show up in the junk mail folder because it is doing some some spam scanning. So that's just a second level, and just means you're going to have that much better spam protection. But that's something that anybody who's running Exchange is going to have.
Yeah, I think that We have some people who are really happy with that backup answer you gave earlier. Well, I think we've pretty much come to the end of the time that we have. What I would like you guys to do is if you have more questions about the service, I know we didn't get to all of them, and I know Chris has been working diligently to answer a lot of your questions by text. So if you have additional questions, just go ahead and send them. You can send them to me, and I'll make sure that I get the right answer for you. My email is dan@virtualadministrator.com. And if you're interested in getting started with this, like I mentioned earlier, what you do is just run to virtualadministrator.com. So it's the last half of my email address here. And what you would do is go to the Sign Up tab in the upper corner, and then just go ahead and click Sign Me Up under Messagewire Hosted Microsoft Exchange. And you can fill out your information here, and then we'll get you set up. And I guess, yeah, that pretty much covers all of it. I'm like trying to wait for something else to come out of my mouth, but that covers the majority of it. At this time, we don't have a trial, but you know, it's pretty inexpensive to get started. It's not like we're asking you to invest, you know, a couple $1,000s. It's like, you know, $14 or something to do 2 accounts for the month, and so that'll get you a good chance to trial it if you want to try it out, or if you want to put a customer on there, then, you know, it's still going to be, you can charge the customer. It's pretty inexpensive. You can actually make money off of that trial, which is the best kind of trial. That's really the plan ultimately, is to help you guys to grow your business and, you know, kind of work with our motto, which is work less and make more. And this is definitely one of the key steps to doing that. It helps kind of establish a baseline of income for your company, and it's something that we've always promoted. So anyway, Ross, I really appreciate you being on the call, and Corey, I know you've been silent, but you've also been here, and I appreciate that too.
Thank you.
And we will go ahead and end the webinar at this point. Once again, feel free to just go ahead and contact me if you guys have any other questions, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.